Hello and Assalamualaikum. We are from Group 7 in Section 1. Today we will present about the ventilation system. Our group member have 5 group member, which includes Muhammad Ridwan bin Ghani, Alliance Abu Hanifah, CF190184, Muhammad Azahirullah bin Ismail, CF190182, Ahmad Firdaus bin Syed Hassan, CF190138, Nur Amira Raihan binti Abdul Mahdi, CF190136, and lastly Nur Hidayah binti Rajana, CF190180. First, I will present about the introduction. The introduction of air conditioning. Air conditioning is the process of eliminating heat and moisture from the inside of an occupied area to increase occupant comfort. It is important in residential and commercial environments because the most prevalent application of this method is to create a more comfortable interior environment for human and other animals. There are two types of central air conditioners, which are split system and package unit. Next, the introduction of electrical system. The electrical system is a network of conductors and equipment that properly transport, distributes, and converts electrical power from the point of delivery or generation to the various loads that use the energy. To cater the increasing demand for electricity, we will need to build a huge number of large power plants. The electricity generated in the generating station is distributed to consumer via two category system, which are via transmission and distribution. Now we will move to the second point, which is the main component of the system for centralized air conditioner system. The first component is condenser fan motor. The condenser fan motor is the fan that pull and push air through the AC unit's coil, ducts, and living spaces are powered by fan motors. Each spring, the motors, like most moving parts, should be oiled and cleaned as part of preventive maintenance to guarantee a long service life and effective cooling. The second component is evaporating coil. The evaporator coil in a traditional split system air conditioner is positioned within the residence or near the air handler, while the blower fan is located. Inside the evaporator, cool refrigerant vaporizes and absorb heat from the warm return airflow. For best cooling efficiency, coil should be cleaned once a year. The compressor job is to pull cool, low-pressure liquid refrigerant through the tubes in the evaporator coil as the air conditioner works. The refrigerant goes through the expansion valve before entering the evaporator coil. The valve relieves pressure, allowing it to cool quickly. Next component is thermostat. Thermostat are temperature-sensitive devices that turn on and off the air conditioning system. Modern programmable and smart thermostat provide advanced functions such as automatic temperature changeover, which can help you save money on electricity. Consider upgrading to a more current thermostat if you are still using a mercury-based or digital thermostat. While 7-day programmable thermostats are convenient, and the advantages of adopting a smart thermostat significantly outweigh the initial investment. The last component is condenser coil. The condenser coil releases heat at the outside cabinet where the evaporator coil absorbs it. The condenser coil is identical to the indoor evaporator coil, except the evaporator and condenser coil on an air conditioner are inverted. The evaporator coil absorbs heat from the air inside the home, while the condenser coil releases it into the open air.
I will continue the presentation with same topic, which is compressor and air filter. First of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Nur Amira Raihan binti Abdul Mahdi. My matric number is CF190136. Let's start the presentation. For compressor, a split air conditioning system is used in most homes with a central air conditioning system. The compressor is housed in the outside unit in this unit. The compressor receives refrigerant from the evaporator coil and prepares it for heat release at the condenser coil. The compressor is driven by a motor with a piston and cylinder. Next, air filter. The major function of the air filter is to protect HVAC components from dust and debris accumulation. It also protects your wallet from astronomically high energy bills. Filter keeps the fan motor clean and helps it last longer. Next, I will explain about the component of electrical systems. Socket. A socket outlet is a female socket connected to the building's power wiring that includes the male plug attached to the end of a flexible cable from an appliance such as a vacuum cleaner, electric fireplace, or electrical equipment. Each socket also contains a fuse, allowing each system to have its own fuse at the feeder end of its flexible wire or cord. Only the permanent fixed wiring of the building must be secured by the fusing arrangements of the building wiring, and this covers the cable or chain. Second component is miniature circuit breaker, MCB. In both overload and defective conditions, a tiny circuit breaker, MCB, immediately cuts off the electrical circuit during an irregular network situation. When a continuous overcurrent passes through the MCB, the bimetallic strip is heated and deflected by bending. The small circuit breaker contacts are open and the MCB turns off when this mechanical latch is linked to the operating mechanism, preventing current from passing across the circuit. The MCB is far more prone to overcurrent than a fuse. The MCB must be manually switched on to restart the current flow. This method guards against overcurrent or overload-related failures. Next, Earth Leakage Circuit Breaker (ELCB). The primary function of an earth leakage circuit breaker or ELCB is to avoid shock due to high earth impedance during electrical installation since it is a safety device. The fundamental goal of ELCB is to protect humans and animals from electrical shock. An ELCB that is utilized for voltage sensing does not detect fault currents. Distribution board. Electrical distribution boards are used to distribute electricity evenly over several circuits, giving diverse consumption points in residential or industrial structures. Next, the electrical distribution board is directly connected to the power cable that transport electrical power from the network to the house. Lastly, electrical distribution boards have a specific circuit breaker that is a vital component of these board tables. Next, meter board. An electrical meter, often known as an energy meter, is a device that calculates the quantity of electrical energy used by a resident, a tenant space, or electrical equipment. Electric utilities monitor the electrical energy delivered to their customer using electrical meters installed on their premise for billing purpose. They are normally calibrated in billing units, with the kilowatt hour being the most popular. In some areas, relays for demand response load shedding during high load times also contain meters. Last but not least, cartridge fuse. All electrical circuits, including those in your home, must be protected by an overcurrent protection system or OCPD. The sum of amperage flowing through a wire or circuit is called current, and any wire or circuit is given a maximum current rating. Cartridge fuses protect high voltage circuits. All fuses, including cartridge fuse, are the weak link in an electric circuit. Within the fuse, there is a metal strip that is joined to both metal ends of the fuse body. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Zahirullah bin Ismail, matric number CF190182. Okay, for the working principle of the system, first is centralized air conditioning system. The air handling unit first kick on, drawing in room air from various parts of the house via return air ducts. Every air conditioner is made up of three major components: a condenser, an evaporator, and a compressor. The evaporator is typically mounted on or within the air handling unit, which is typically a forced air furnace. When the refrigerant begins to circulate through the indoor coil, it becomes extremely cool. The refrigerant absorbs so much heat from the air that it turns into vapor as the air handler pushes warm air across the coil. The figure shows air conditioning system work. For the electrical supply system, when electricity is transmitted at high voltage, less power is lost in the cable. The cable run in small building is kept as short as possible, terminating in a distribution board at the first convenient location. The location of the distribution board should be easily accessible for both meter reading and fuse replacement. The domestic electricity is typically supplied via a distribution system and is classified as single or three-phase. This is known as a single-phase supply and provide a 240-volt voltage for the premise. This figure show the electrical supply from plant to domestic. And then this figure show the electrical supply in building. Thank you.
I am Ahmad Fidam bin Aslan, number matric CF190138. I want to present about for our project. For my part is specification of the system. First is air conditioner system. First is confirmation of the performance COP. The standard of humidity and temperature condition, the ER is measured and reported. The ER determines the effectiveness of an alternative current AC under standard test setting. A variety of factors influence real-world efficiency. The coefficient of performance is the measure of the system real-world efficiency. Second is dimension and weight. The one of the simple to read, but the required to careful planning that AC dimensions may prevent you from installing it where you want to it when it won't come to window air conditioning. It's important to keep note of the dimension. Any excess space must be sealed off when the AC is installed at the window, or the AC may lose efficiency due to air leak. Next is power input, power consumption. Air conditioners are using a lot of energy. It ensures us consider how much power the gadget consumes. It is necessary not only for calculating energy bill, but also for sizing power equipment such as wiring socket, switches, circuit breakers capacity and stabilized capacity. One net is airflow rate. The volume of air cooled by the indoor unit is indicated by the airflow rate. The cool air will spread fast if there was more airflow. High airflow means that a drop of the water will be felt in the surrounding. Airflow and noise level are also dropped when the fan speed is reduced. For the last is energy efficient ratio. The amount of the cooling provided by an conditioner per unit energy consumed reflect the system efficient. A higher EER implies a more efficient AC. In making a buying choice, consider the EER as well as the add cost of the AC. Seasonal energy efficient ratio (SEER) is another way to express the energy efficient ratio. And that is our planned centralized air conditioning system of building. That is for our air conditioner schematic drawings. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name Muhammad Ridwan bin Gani, alias Abu Hanifah. My metric number CF190184. Okay, I will continue for specification of the system. Okay, I will continue for the electrical supply specification. Okay, first input range or operating range. The voltage range that the power supply is able to accept from an AC power surge, and input range of 90 volt to 135 volt is common for 110 volt AC current, and input range of 180 volt to 270 volt is typical for 220 volt AC current. Next, peak inrush current. The greatest amount of current drawn by the power supply at any given moment after it is turned on. Expressed in amps at a specific voltage, the system will experience less thermal shock if the current is lower. Okay, next. Minimum load current. The less amount of current that must be pulled from a certain output in order for it to work. The power supply may be damaged or shut off automatically if the current drawn from an output falls below the minimum. Okay, next, over voltage protection. The trip point for each output are the location at which the power supply turn off or mute that output. Values can be stated as raw voltage, for example, positive 4.6 volt for the positive 3.3 volt output and positive 7.0 volt for the positive 5 volt output, or as percentage, for example, 120% for positive 3.3 and positive 5 volt. Okay, next, line regulations. The change in output voltage that occur as the AC input voltage transition from the lowest to highest value in the input range. A power supply should be capable of handling any AC voltage in its input range with 1% of or less change in output. Okay, for the next slide is the figure for planned electrical supply system of building. Okay, next, this is for figure electrical supply system schematic drawing. Okay, that's all from my group. Thank you and Assalamualaikum.